In this section, I want to cover what I call the Kennedy channeling technique. And it's a very simple way of drawing trend lines that will actually help you identify Elliott waves. So let me go ahead and start showing you some of the basics, and it's very simple. Here we have, and let me move a slide over. Here we have a basic 5-wave Elliott wave move, or a 5-wave move. Here's my wave 1, here's my wave 2, my 3, ABC for a 4, and then a 5. This is your classic impulse structure according to the wave principle. Now the first line, or the first channel we're going to be drawing on this background is what I call the base channel. And simply put, all you do is draw a line from the origin of wave 1 to the extreme of wave 2, and then take a parallel of this line against the high here or the extreme of wave 1. Now whenever I draw my channels, I like to have a midline separating or defining the midpoint of the channel. And just to go ahead and give you an idea of how I do it, again, beginning from the origin of wave 1 here, I draw a line to the extreme of wave 2. Then take a parallel of that line and raise it up to the extreme of wave 1. So this would actually be my first and second waves, and this is what I consider to be a base channel. Now the reason the base channel is so significant, it's really the upper boundary line right here. I refer to the top line as the upper boundary line and the lower line as the lower boundary line. Now what occurs is whenever price action moves through the upper boundary line, then what you can begin to do is with confidence identify this move as a third wave rally. So that's the importance of the base channel. Also too, and I'll show you shortly again how the base channel comes into play with regard to wave 4. But again, with the base channel, simply begin with the origin of wave 1, the extreme of wave 2, and take a parallel. And again, the reason this base channel, this initial channel is so important is because once prices begin traveling above the upper boundary line here, then with confidence you can identify the move as a third wave move. Now next I'd like to show you the second channel of the Kennedy channeling technique, and that is the acceleration channel. The acceleration channel is important because it encompasses wave 3. And just to go ahead and give you a visual, here's my first wave, and my second wave, and my third wave. Why is the acceleration channel so important? The acceleration channel is important because it defines the progress or the duration of wave 3. When prices begin to break out of the lower boundary line of the acceleration channel, then again with confidence you can label the subsequent move as a fourth wave, which we'll do here. Now if some of you are familiar with my work with regard to futures junctures, you know oftentimes in my work I identify something called the corrective price channel. Well, that stems from the channel we draw to identify wave 4. Here's my wave A, and my wave B, and my wave C. And this would represent my fourth wave. Now as long as price action is contained by parallel lines, it is considered a counter trend or corrective move, and once complete will be more than fully retraced. So the way our wave structure is working here, this will be our wave 3, and here's our fourth wave. And just to reinforce what I mean by this is that again, corrective price channel, it tends to be contained by parallel lines. Now this is a minor throw over here up at the top with regard to the upper boundary line, but if you have sustained price action, then with confidence you can no longer call this a wave C advance, but a wave 3 advance. And if I'm moving a little too fast, I don't mean to, but I will be showing you later real-time examples of this in action on actual price charts. But initially I just want to go ahead and reinforce the foundation of my channeling technique to give you an idea of how I apply it. Now the last channel we're going to be actually applying is going to be actually a terminating channel, and you're familiar with this with regard to the wave principle because this is the channel that R.N. Elliott actually drew with regard to his wave structure. And simply put, what you simply do is draw a trend line from the extreme of wave 2 to the extreme of wave 4, and that identifies your resistance for your fifth wave right here. So in a nutshell, that's exactly how I apply my channels to identify Elliott waves. And just to go back, let me clean this chart up a bit. And what we'll do, again, we will walk through some real-time examples, but simply put, if you have a structure like this, your initial channel is going to be your base channel. When prices break above the upper boundary line, then you can again with confidence identify this move as a third wave move. Once wave 3 is in progress, we'll draw a line from the top of wave 3 to the extreme of wave 1 and drop the parallel down to the extreme of wave 2. When prices break the lower boundary line of the acceleration channel, then you know with confidence that wave 4 is underway. And wave 4 will last until it breaks out of its deceleration channel or its corrective price channel. Now, one thing you'll notice when we begin applying these price channels on real price charts, you'll notice that oftentimes what you'll see is that either the upper boundary line of the base channel will provide support for the fourth wave at one of these points. Either the upper boundary line, the midline, or the lower boundary line will provide support for wave 4. And then once you have wave 4 in place and prices have broken above the upper boundary line of the deceleration channel, then you simply draw your final channel, your terminating channel, to identify resistance for wave 5. And that's how the channeling technique actually works.